Hello, Muslims have always claimed that the night journey in chapter 17, ayah 1 is about Muhammad traveling on the back of buraq from Masjid al-Haram in Mecca to Al-Aqsa mosque, which is the farthest mosque, which is supposedly a building, a mosque in Jerusalem. And of course, like always, nobody saw or witnessed this so-called miracle. Remember, everyone was asleep at night.
I want to share a piece of a clip with you, which is from this individual called Farid. I went to his video in which he's trying to refute my moon splitting, and look what I found. Look what his argument is.
You would expect that the Persians and the Romans, in this time the Byzantines, would document such a miracle, because both of them, especially the Romans, kept records strictly of pretty much everything.
There's another issue with Radvan's assumption here. One of the reasons why we do not have heaps of documented evidence was because most people were asleep at night. Remember, this is the 7th century.
The argument here is we don't have any secondary reports of the moon splitting in two in the 7th century because it happened at night, because people were sleeping. People were sleeping. They didn't see that because people were asleep.
Because most people were asleep at night.
Am I the only one who thinks this is one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever heard?
He's got a point. Most people would be asleep. I mean, come on, you can't deny that. People sleep at night.
So let us jump on the back of buraq like the Prophet of Islam and go through some important historical proofs and sources to refute and bury the Islamic narrative that is nothing but fabrication. First, Muhammad died in 632 AD, but Al-Aqsa mosque, the building itself, was not finished being built until 705 AD by Caliph Abdul Malik's son Al-Walid. Did Muhammad had access to a time travel machine to travel back to the future? So the building itself was finished after 73 years after the death of Muhammad, which means it would be impossible to accept the idea that Muhammad saw the mosque while it did not exist yet, or let alone travel to it. On top of that, the Jewish temple was already destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD. But the original story is actually about Moses, found in the legends of the Jews, that was very known and existed at least 3 centuries before Islam. Chapter 17 of the Qur'an is directly plagiarized from the Legends of the Jews, which is a famous man-made legend about Prophet Moses and his ascension to the heavens. That is also why Muhammad himself was accused in his own Qur'an for stealing and plagiarizing these known fairy tales, legends, and bedtime stories which Muhammad attributed to himself, claiming that he was receiving so-called divine revelation from Allah. Embarrassing, right? On top of that, the very next verse in chapter 17, ayah 2, gives it away that this story is about Moses and no one else.
Muslims are told that Muhammad visited Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. But that is impossible because Al-Aqsa Mosque didn't even exist during Muhammad's lifetime. We'll tell you which mosque he really visited. Did Muhammad really visit the Aqsa Mosque? Why are we bringing it up? Because chapter 17 of the Quran is dedicated to this alleged journey that Muhammad was taken, and whether in body or in spirit, first from Mecca to what we call today Al-Quds, or Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, that's to the specific location, and then he ascended from there to heaven, Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. But Rob, is that really what happened? I mean, there was no such thing as Al-Aqsa Mosque when Muhammad actually alleged this whole thing, because he died in 632. Historically speaking, Al-Aqsa Mosque, or at least the compound itself, was being built in 691, and the Dome of the Rock itself was finished by the son of that caliph, basically Abdul Malik. His son is the one that finished it after his death, the death of Abdul Malik in 705.
Exactly, and this is a very important topic because Muslims love to tell us that Muhammad jumped on the back of Al-Buraq, and he went from Mecca, supposedly, from Masjid al-Haram to the farthest mosque, Al-Aqsa Mosque. But if we read the Muslim sources, we find authentic stories where it says that Muhammad never, and I mean never, left the Hijaz, which is the area where Mecca and Medina are located. And of course, here is the proof from the Islamic books. Here is a book called Akhbar Mecca, a very famous book in the Sunni world, volume 5 by Muhammad bin Ishaq bin Al-Abbas Al-Fakihi. In this very book, we will see where actually the original Al-Aqsa Mosque was in the 7th century in the time of Muhammad. And we will prove to you that it's certainly not in Jerusalem, but actually very close area between Mecca and Medina. And here is the proof. On page 66, brother, and we scroll down, we find a Sahih hadith. Look. Isnaduhu sahih, isnaduhu sahih. And the hadith number is 2850, right? Please confirm, brother.
Yes, 2850, and it is isnaduhu sahih, meaning, as you stated, it's a sahih, authentic narration.
All right, if we go to that hadith here on top, we see the hadith number 2850. This is the hadith that we see on the screen. Maybe you want to read the hadith, brother, for us?
Sure. I'm just going to start at the beginning. It says, Haddathana Az-Zubayr ibn Abi Bakr, meaning the one who narrated to us was, his name is Al-Zubayr, the son of Abi Bakr. He says, An Muhammad ibn Tariq, narrated from Muhammad ibn Tariq, that he said, اتفقت أنا ومجاهد, we agreed, myself and Mujahid, بالجعرانة, that's I think an area, فأخبرني أن المسجد الأقصى, he told me that the Aqsa Mosque, الذي من وراء الوادي, which is behind this valley, بالعدوة القصوى, it's also again another area basically related to the location, مصلى An-Nabi, meaning the place where Muhammad prayed, Bil Ja'rana, again the name of that area. So right there, that's the underlined part. Do you want me to keep reading?
Yeah. No, basically, you already did enough damage, and here is why. Here is the translation. Again, this is the Sahih Hadith that we found in Akhbar Mecca, basically the news about Mecca, by Muhammad ibn Ishaq bin Al-Abbas Al-Faki, volume 5, page 66, hadith number 2850. And it says, from Muhammad bin Tariq, he said, Mujahid and I agreed to meet in Al-Ja'rana. And this is a very important area called Al-Ja'rana. He then told that the Prophet was praying in Masjid Al-Aqsa. Do you see it? So in the time of Muhammad, Muhammad used to go to an area called Al-Ja'rana or Al-Ja'rana, and there was a mosque, a masjid called Al-Aqsa, which is behind the valley, Al-Adwat Al-Quswa. So the name of the valley, we even know the name of the valley called Al-Adwat Al-Quswa, in Al-Ja'rana. Did you catch it? So
that's right.
The Al-Aqsa Mosque that the Quran is talking about in chapter 17, ayah 1, is actually not in Jerusalem, but in a very close area called Al-Ja'rana, dear brother. And Muslims don't know about this. This is damaging. So later, Muslims wanted to attribute miracles to Muhammad that he never had, and they came with the fabrication, a lie, a myth, that Muhammad went on the back of buraq, traveled from Mecca all the way to Jerusalem to pray in Masjid Al-Aqsa. Well, Masjid Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem did not even exist yet because it was later built in the year 705, but Muhammad died in the year 632. Ya Muslimin, this is damaging, and this is a Sahih Hadith. Brother,
right.
What do you want to say about this?
And I want to say, it's quite possible that the Caliph basically who built it, he built it, maybe used the same name to commemorate this account, if indeed such thing happened. But are you going to show people now on the map where Al-Ja'rana is?
Oh, yeah. If we do a simple Google Maps search, as you see, a Google Maps search, if we put Al-Ja'rana, because that exists in Saudi Arabia, Al-Ja'rana, the same Al-Ja'rana, and we take the second destination, Mecca itself, we see that Al-Ja'rana, where the Masjid Al-Aqsa was in the time of Muhammad in the 7th century, here on top, is only a 25-minute drive by car from Mecca. Mecca. So Muhammad actually, when he used to go and visit Al-Ju'rana to pray in that mosque called Al-Aqsa, is very close to Mecca. So
Yeah, so
Muhammad,
it's an
there's
Uber
nothing
ride,
called- yeah.
basically. You take an Uber ride, and it doesn't even cost that much to go there. So maybe it was called that because meaning it's the other mosque, technically speaking.
Exactly, because the closest one was in Mecca, and the farthest one that is, let's say if we let's say Muhammad used to travel by camel or maybe by feet. It's only a couple of hours, but Muhammad never ever. Listen carefully, my friends. Muhammad never ever went to Jerusalem. He did not see Jerusalem. Muslims much later wanted to give Muhammad a miracle which he never had. So Islam is nothing but lies built on top of lies on more lies. Please wake up, ya Muslimin. We do not hate you, but we want to share the truth with you. What your Muslim books are saying. Your Muslim books are saying that Al-Ju'rana was really close to Mecca, certainly not in Jerusalem.
Amen, brother. And again, I mean, I can see Muhammad maybe having a dream about that location. Sure. I mean, we visit places sometimes and we may have a dream, maybe a nightmare, whatever the case might be, about something that we're familiar with. But to take that and all of a sudden amplify it and make it sound like he was transported from Mecca all the way to Jerusalem, or the Jerusalem area, or the compound known Baytul Maqdis, where you have the mosque and we have the Dome of the Rock and all that kind of stuff. Well, historically speaking, it's very damaging because Abdul Malik built this mosque in 691. The Dome of the Rock was basically complete and finished by his son in 705. Muhammad died in 632 AD. Do the math, and you tell me, folks. If you don't see a problem, then we're talking, basically two different things here.